Hello, everybody. I'm Elwirfy, and today we're going to be. I just want to talk about some general stuff with Killing Floor. This isn't to go over this specific footage, but I will say a special thanks to Pathfinder for providing this kind of gameplay for us to just look at. And I might say a couple things about the video, but we're not going to watch the whole gameplay on this one. That's why we're also muting the video, just one out of respect for his own. I definitely encourage you to go watch his video if you want to hear his opinions about shotguns. But as a support specialist player, I felt like it was important to talk about a couple things that I've noticed in general with the game, as well as things that are unique. Even in this gameplay, you'll see that his shotgun is not very effective. I think it's a bit disappointing that shotguns overall have been seemingly nerfed because they're not really able to do the kind of like what was it? Stopping power? Yeah, I think it's stopping power is what I'm thinking of. But as you see him play, you'll notice some other things that are just clearly not as good as like what we had in Killing Floor 2. And this isn't me going after Killing Floor 3 over and over just because like I hate the game. Like I actually want the game to be good and I'd like it to be improved. I really want to see it thrive and create its own community. I think that there are good things about this game that I think we need to talk about real quick before talking about some of the stuff. I think that the evolution of the Zeds, while I disagree with the art style itself, I can see where the progression is coming from. You know, I understand that. Also, I definitely can see how the um, the gunplay is meant to make everything feel smoother, even though it's not. They screwed it up, but that's the goal, right? That's everything feels like they're trying to streamline it, so they take choice away from the player. Oh wait, that's a negative two. Well, actually, hold on. It's almost as if what we're getting here is a limited set of weapons because they took away the weight system, right? We're getting a very singular progression system within the game. Um, each weapon is not unique enough to really, for me, do anything. I don't know. It's hard to justify some of the design choices. Like for example, in Killing Floor 2, there was a lot of stuff going on, so you would be healing a lot, right? Because you'd take damage. That's part of the game. No one's perfect. I mean, maybe this guy's pretty good, so he doesn't maybe need to heal much, but the, people get hurt. And depending on the difficulty, if depending on what you scale it for, it can get pretty bonkers. You can get like a ton of stuff coming at you at once. So you would definitely be spamming that Q button. But in this game, now you only get 3 heals per round. I can tell you, like, again, depending on how hard some of the gameplay was, you'd be spamming that heal button all the time, and it would recharge. So it'd be on a timer, right? Um, so I think that the limiting of heals will be leading to eventually a microtransaction of getting things that let you hold more heals, which is concerning because that would break gameplay. So if they really want to limit your heals, that's fine. That just means that the guns need to be better because your guns aren't very good. And as you'll see as we watch, his shoot like I don't know. Well, it discourages melee combat, that's for sure. Oh my god. If you're a if you're a swordsman and you want to stab the Zeds and cut them up, because remember Killing Floor 2 had really dynamic swordplay and stuff. We could cut up the body parts and it was really fun. Um, and it seems like the destruction is okay. I think. Whoa, did you see that? Hold on. Did you see how? Wow. I didn't realize it, but I just saw that. Can we go back a second? Let's look at this attack right here. No, right after this. So he kills this dude. That's fine. But then, whoa. No, right here. Okay, so see how the body is? So he has an arm. He's missing 2 limbs. And he's got a foot and a head. He's going to shoot him. Whoa, look at that clipping. That's pretty bad. I just saw that just now. That's disgusting. They have made the killing of the Zeds much worse. It makes the shotgun feel powerful, but it's not really because all he did was get a headshot. That is interesting. That is certainly a choice. Wow, that's disappointing. Okay. Another thing you'll notice as he's been running around is that guess what? Since all your weapons are tied to yourself and there's no coordination, you don't have any reason to put weapons on the ground. I mean, look around. Do you see any weapons of any kind flashing green on the ground? No. I don't even see any ammo pickups. So that means that the guns have to have too much ammo when you get them. Like the shotguns, for example, typically would have a good amount, but you certainly could very easily run out if you're inaccurate or you do a bad job. Like there's ways to run out of ammo. So the developers, for example, in the previous two games, put in ammo pickups. They put in um, weapons you could grab off the ground in case you ran out. But since all the weapons are now tied to the classes, they're like, well, why would we put weapons on the ground? You're not going to be able to hold it because you have a limited amount of weapon slots. Why? Because they wanted to get rid of the weight system because the weight system would allow you to customize your characters. But they don't want you to customize your characters in the way that they fight because they want to, I assume, tie that to more weapons to be sold to you later. So I think that's a huge thing that nobody's talking about. Like, where's the weapon pickups? Where's the ammo pickups? That's really disappointing. Like look at the weapon selection. It's so poor. And the fact that like there's all these cool gadgets supposedly, but it's only for one class. Why can't Foster do whatever? Why are we limited in what we can do? It's ridiculous. And like you only get 3 syringes, and sure, here's the other thing, interesting thing, right? Did you give us limited syringes because your game was too easy and you knew that if we had infinite heals it would be impossible to die? That's the other thing, right? So either the game will be too hard for some people and they'll run out of heals and they'll get frustrated, or the game is too easy and people will just never need to use heals anyway, and they give it a limited amount. That way you're not actual gods on the battlefield. One of the two is happening right now, because otherwise if you had infinite heals, then the developers don't have to worry about making too overwhelming of odds because you can always run away, right? Kiting is a very important skill in Killing Floor, and being able to avoid taking damage is part of it's an FPS. It's part of the game. But see how like even this grenade launcher is not doing like look at that. It didn't even like explode him, and he whacked him and he didn't really go down. Like that's bad. You need to if you're gonna have a grenade launcher and it doesn't explode the little Zeds. I understand it not killing the Scrake right away, but what are you doing? Oh, and then I forgot. There's these stupid powers that seem to be okay, but it doesn't even last that long, and it didn't even kill a Scrake. Like the unique powers suck. I think that's a bad choice too. I understand they want to be like, oh, maybe like Overwatch, maybe like Call of Duty, but what do you what do you expect us to get out of this kind of system where all the unique elements ultimately hurt the core gameplay? I think that's something that isn't being talked about either. Like everything they're trying to innovate, I think takes away from the identity of what Killing Floor is. And to be fair, if you'd released a game like this and you didn't call it Killing Floor and you made unique Z models and you just had a specialist zombie killing game, that's fine, honestly. But you're taking the reputation of a game and trying to use it to promote a more, kind of buggy, a more streamlined version of a game that did have core principles that were really good. And they're just, yeah, like, look at that. This grenade launcher sucks. Here's the thing. If you have a shit weapon in a game with 4 weapons, that reduces your weapon variety a lot. You really can't have bad weapons if you're going to be giving us such a small selection. Like, this weapon, honestly, I mean, obviously you buy what you can when you have the money, but that first weapon he was using I thought was more effective. And God, I just realized something. I hope they don't do that thing where they change the health of Zeds based on what round you're in. I hope that all the Z health stays the same. And because the way difficulty worked in Killing Floor was that you'd have more Zeds to fight. Was how the difficulty ramped up. It's not that they actually got physically difficult. They weren't spongy, right? So that way you could have a lot more killing and your weapons. So what it does is it makes your weapons feel stronger as you progress, but you're not there's still challenge because there's a lot of Zeds to shoot. So it made weapon and managing supplies and resources the main limiting factor, which is why you had ammo pickups in the first place. But interestingly, I wonder if with the weapon progression, if I can't look at the files right now, but if they have done anything to change the health of Zeds, is what I wonder. That would be an interesting change. I don't know if they would do that, but that would change what they value in the game, because that would mean instead of valuing cooperation and working together via passing weapons and ammo to each other. Oh yeah, can you toss cash in this game? I don't think no one's played co-op yet, so I don't know. But can you pass money to each other? Can you help out? Because I could see you especially if you have something with later waves, depending on how easily you earn cash. I'm looking, he's getting $84.20 for some stuff. You're not getting a ton, but certainly if you wanted to just use one weapon and fill the ammo, I could see you getting a lot of cash pretty easily. So I would be shocked if you ever ran out of money. Also, I think it's sad that like the Zeds will do these weird animations now that have nothing to do with chasing the player. All animations that existed for the most part, except maybe the flesh pound when he got like mad, would be with the intention of, you know, making it harder to make getting closing in on the player. That was the whole point. But like when you see the is it the fire not the firebug, that's the class. The guy who shoots the fire, I don't know why I can't remember his name ever. But he does this weird spinning animation that makes him vulnerable to shoot, and it's just kind of weird. I don't know, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, so that's the two main things that I feel like people haven't been talking about yet. Is that you have limited syringes, and you don't have weapon pickups anymore. You don't have ammo pickups. And it's the same thing I was saying in an earlier video about how there's no point in welding doors because you're you don't need to really stand and hold because you've made a game where standing and holding is not good. So there's no sense of cooperation needed either. It's not even going to feel like a team game, right? Because the whole point of like playing Killing Floor as a team and as a group is that your classes balance with each other and they work well together. You know, you have your sharpshooter in the back, and then you have your commando in the middle and shotgun guy in front. You know, there's like layers, and what you do is you can like weld off a door. I'm talking about Killing Floor 1. You weld off a door, and then you would have your support guy just focusing on welding that door to keep it shut. I remember that was a really fun thing to do with my friends. Like I'd be like welding the door to keep it held down while my friend was raining death and trying to clear out half the wave. And then what we would do is we would let the Zeds destroy the door, and then we'd all throw grenades at it to blow everyone out. It was really fun. But in this game, like, with our new movement system, they're encouraging us to not sit around. And, like, I don't know, even watching the way he moves, it feels not very good. But maybe I'm biased, but it feels like it's so jumpy and not as fluid. I think it's all like when you speed up the movement of the character, but the Zeds feel like the same speed. It just feels like there's no real way to ever consider anything to be a threat. Like the flesh pound is coming at him, he's just gonna slide away. I mean, obviously it's up to the player's skill to make sure you hit the right buttons, but beyond that, like look at how slow the flesh pounds are. That's so bad. Like flesh pounds used to get on your face. Like if you saw a flesh pound coming, that was serious. Like you need to pay attention, work as a group to kill him. And because the weapons are so bad at doing damage, you can see it took a lot of grenade shots to kill him, which is fine. Flesh pounds are tough, but especially for solo, I don't know how they've scaled things for solo, but you would typically get less enemies when you play by yourself. So I can't tell if they've done that or not because the amount of enemies you get scales based on how many players you have in the other Killing Floor games. So it's just hard to tell. I understand it's on Wave 5. It's different and stuff. But I don't know. It feels concerning that the weapons aren't really doing as much as they used to. And there's some cool ideas. Like there's the shock thing, apparently, which seems fine. But it's not doing the kind of insta-killing stuff that you'd really want. Yeah, look at that. Look at how the he does this big animation and lets himself easily get killed. That's really disappointing. I don't know. I'm just saddened by that. Um, so one thing I noticed is that we do have some interesting powers with the. Did you see how the Scrake will pull you in and then he does an animation to like celebrate that he pulled you in, but he doesn't actually attack you. So he's kind of relying on like the group swarm to hit you. So like that's an interesting idea, but it makes the Scrake less scary because what's scary about the Scrake is he like runs at you and then if he gets you, he's just gonna smack you with his chainsaw over and over, and it's gonna be hard. Uh, so I don't know. It feels like it's also hard to see what's going on sometimes, like just from like a visual standpoint of watching it, and the fact that the Z time is so short. Do you see that Z time was really short? Just all these things are combining that make me feel really concerned about the game, and I want it to improve. I really do. Just to be clear, I'm not like just dogging on the game just because it's popular to dog on it. Like, but see, now he's at a point where what's he doing with all his money? Is $6,000. Like I was saying earlier, he has nothing to buy. I think he's kind of showing that off. Like he's he's dropping all these supplies, because why not? Yeah, because why wouldn't you? So now you're kind of breaking the game. Now there's no challenge anymore. Yeah, they've already ruined it because there's no weapon variety. There's no constant need to keep building stuff. And it's cool that the engineer has the welder and stuff, and he can do this. That's cool to have like map elements and stuff. Like that's fun. But you know, what do you Yeah, so now he has this big pile of loot that he can pull from, and it makes it much harder. And also, we already have the boss. Um, so you have all this extra money you're earning. I guess it maybe make stuff more expensive. No, I'm not saying that's good though, because you only have so many weapons. So that's the problem, right? So another thing that was cool about having lots of weapons is that you had a scaling of money too. So one thing people might do is they might pass like one dude a bunch of money because they really want him to get the AA-12 really quick, or they might want someone else to get the Barrett. So there was just more stuff to do. And it's cool that like the turrets kind of help and do minimal damage. That's fine. Obviously, they're not doing a big impact of damage, although the free damage is nice. I think that's kind of cool. Um, but yeah, it's like see how like with this boss you have to be moving because he just charges at you. So in other boss fights in Killing Floor, depending on which boss you got, you would have different ways you're supposed to tackle them. Like sometimes there's one where yeah, one person needs to be the meat shield and run around dodging, and then the medic would shoot like medic shots into him to keep him alive, to avoid getting killed, while everyone else just shot him to death. But you could just stand around and all gun down the patriarch, for example, just making sure to avoid the melee stuff and to avoid when he did the chain gun attack. There's different stuff that could be done, but like the current boss in the game that they've put in, one, I think you need to put the patriarch in. I think that's important. I don't know if this is just one of many bosses. I hope this isn't the only boss in the game, but this is the boss that was shown in the trailer too, so that's not looking great. And he has like a variety of attacks, and that's fine. But it feels like you kind of need to rely on moving around as your only way to fight the boss. And I like the idea of using the whole map. That's okay. But you use the whole map just to I don't know, like if I had a group of people, is this guy gonna so is every boss gonna be the same because of the movement system where you're all one person will always be the meat shield guy running away, and then everyone else will always, like, is that the only way we're gonna fight bosses? I think that's a concern. So I hope. And here's another thing I just thought of. So if you only have a limited amount of weapons, then everyone will have max gear by the time you fight the boss. Part of the fun of Killing Floor was that not everyone could always afford max weapons. So you would just like some people would be stuck and they'd have to go okay, that's the end. So some people would get stuck and they would have to run around the map scavenging for ammo, and you have to get another weapon and all this stuff. There were elements of the game that made it feel like the boss, even if you weren't doing as well in the game with money, like if you weren't getting all the kills or something, if there was some kill stealing and people weren't sharing their money, there were still ways you could participate. In this game, like if everyone has max gear, everyone's doing the same amount of stuff, so there's no like I guess sense of reward of being the player who's helping to carry the team, especially if people are struggling. And for the people who are struggling, there's no sense that like, oh, I can help out in the boss fight if I don't have my max weapons. But then again, how hard is it to even get the max weapons? So overall, very concerning. Definitely, I want to give a special thanks to Pathfinder for going ahead and giving us this gameplay. I think that's great. Obviously. Let's go through the comments, as I always like to do for comments. Again, that was one without his commentary on purpose, because I wanted to just talk about things that were concerning to me. But yeah, TLDR, don't buy for 6 months. That's what I'm going to be doing as well. I'm not going to be buying this right away. If you want to see Killing Floor 2 gameplay, I'll probably be putting that out later. But I did already put out some Killing Floor 1 gameplay that you could look at. And it's not the fastest game. It's not like the speediest, but it was just a server I found. Because Killing Floor 1 is an old game. It's hard to get servers. So I just kind of did my own. Yeah, they certainly killed it. Yeah. It's impressive they made it. Payday look good. Yeah. Yeah, this game is really good at making us want to play Killing Floor 2. That's a good point. I like that. Yeah. I was very underwhelmed with the beta. It felt like the devs were making a different shooter, and the higher-ups made them turn it into Killing Floor 3. Right, exactly. It feels, like I was saying, this feels like a game that would actually be pretty good if it wasn't Killing Floor. And that's the problem, is that there's too much of a reliance on brand identification, which is just disappointing. But either way, again, thanks so much to Pathfinder for making this wonderful gameplay video, just kind of in its raw fullness, so we can just kind of have a discussion. And as always, guys, I'm Elwirfy. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will definitely be seeing you guys next time.